What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Pitre podcast. So I know this setup is very different than what I have currently been having for the past couple of weeks as I moved into a new apartment. And the reason being is just that I don't like that setup is fine as far as layout wise, but the issue is the position of my living room and the buildings next to me and that kind of stuff. It's always dark for some reason. It honestly depends on the day. Like right now is a sunny, beautiful day out, so we're getting a lot of light as we can see. Like I'm positioned in front of a window where my desk is in my room. So it naturally, this position gets a lot of light, right? But for the living room, it's pretty bright in there right now today because it's a bright sunny day. But dude, if there's any kind of overcast or like anything like that, any clouds in the sky whatsoever, a lot of times it's just going to pan between like being light and being dark, being light, being dark, being light, being dark. And yes, you can edit that to a degree when it comes to, editing your video, but it's still going to be shown, unfortunately. And there's times where it's like, dude, on a real cloudy day, man, I can have every single light in that living room on, including like I have a light that's on top of the camera, literally, and it will still be dark. The video will still be dark. So it pisses me off. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm probably just gonna do this layout going forward, and this layout is actually just a lot easier to do in general. So I'm probably gonna do this moving forward, but I want to have a more, I guess I would say, a more professional layout or a better looking layout, or just more importantly, a more consistent layout, right? So you guys know what to expect every single week. I think that from a viewer standpoint, if you are watching this on YouTube, you're probably going to prefer that rather than like things kind of just changing every single week and shit just getting random. But yeah, so I'm going to figure something out for you guys. Sorry about that one, but I just wanted to give you a heads up as to why I'm constantly changing the layouts all the time. But we're not here to talk about layouts. We're here to talk about aliens. This one's a really random conversation. I have literally nothing planned. The reason why I basically want to talk about aliens is because I think if you've seen the discourse online, right? I forgot the exact scientist's name, but there's a guy, scientist, right? A reputable guy. He's saying that there is an object that wasn't from our solar system, that's coming within our solar system, that will pass by Earth. Originally, it's supposed to be, I think, sometime in 2026. Now, I just saw a post and it's coming in 2 weeks. And this was like earlier this week. So apparently, aliens are coming in a week, bro, which I'm not ready for. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not ready to confront aliens. I'm not financially ready. I'm not physically ready. I'm not emotionally ready. I'm not sexually ready to throw down with aliens or have a confrontation with aliens in any degree. So, so that's one thing that I found crazy. How can something go from like, a year away to now 2 weeks or something like that? But basically, what he said is happening, and how he thinks is a not a man-made, not a natural object, but something more man-made, or just something that's out of this world, or technology-wise, etc. It's because, one, the acceleration of speed. So when you look at, there's a lot of consistencies in the universe, right? There's a lot of things that you can account for that make sense. So when it comes to objects like asteroids and that kind of stuff floating around space, or even comets, like things go a certain speed. Yeah, there is there's a degree as far as like, how fast things can go. So it's not going to be the same speed across everything. But for the most part, it's like roughly the same speed that things that are natural objects move through the course of the universe, right? So apparently this object is going faster than that normal speed. Not only that, typically these like asteroids or just like other natural objects go within the same course, so have like a certain course that they would have to go through, right? Because look, these are objects that don't have any combustion of their own. They don't have any means of travel on their own, so they're just literally just relying on gravitational pulls and that kind of stuff to get them to wherever it is they're going, essentially. So they don't have any natural way to, kind of correct course and go in a different direction. Apparently, this object is going in a unusual direction that a typical asteroid or a natural object would be going, right? So when you're going through, at least within our solar system, when you're going through our solar system, one thing that can definitely affect your trajectory in the direction you go in is, of course, the mass of the object that's near you, the mass of the object that you will be near of, which is going to cause a gravitational pull, right? So this is gonna this is gonna be a super scientifically based episode, right? Trey deGrasse Tyson type shit. So let me get into this first, and I can get into all this shit. So basically, right, the greater the mass of an object, the more it's going to have a gravitational pull. So when you look at, for instance, if I put like a piece of paper, if I just had a piece of paper flat out right here, right? If you were to put something heavy on that piece of paper, of course, you're going to see that the piece of paper is going to bend more. It's going to bend more. So any object that's within that space, if you were to put like a little pebble, is going to flow down into the object super fast. The gravitational pull in that object is going to be super fast because the mass and the density and the weight is really heavy, right? So space, we just think is an open layout. Like there's nothing in space. It's just void and emptiness. Space is more so like a fabric, right? So the sun is super heavy. The sun is the biggest object. It has the most mass, and that's why we orbit the sun. That's why we are in the gravitational pull of the sun, and all of our planets are being pulled towards the sun, not just doing their own thing. So when an object is going past these, if the object is going through our solar system, right, gravitationally is going to be pulled towards the things which are planets that have the most mass, essentially. So that's the reason why. Well, a big reason as to why Earth doesn't get hit with so many asteroids is because of Jupiter. So if anything that comes into our solar system, like a meteor is flying by, typically the mass of Jupiter would pull those objects through gravity into Jupiter, into any of the surrounding moons, etc., so that it takes it away and not have an object just hurling towards us from space. So that's a big reason as to why we don't get hit with so many asteroids, in case you don't know. So basically, any man-made object is going to be, of course, it doesn't have its own like compulsion system, so it's going to be affected heavily by mass and or gravity of the planets within our solar system, or the moons within our solar system. We have a lot of moons in the solar system. A lot of people forget about that. I forgot the exact number amount. I think it's like within the 30s, but we have a lot of moons, right? So any object that's hurling into our solar system is going to be pulled gravitationally and mass-wise to those objects. So, and even if we were to traverse the solar system with our current technology, we'll have to like position ourselves in a way where we can like slingshot through the universe. So basically, like if we want to go towards Mars, we'll probably go towards the moon in a certain trajectory where we get pulled into the gravity of the moon, and we can just wrap around the moon and shoot out into Mars, which would allow us to go far faster than usual, right? So it's like utilizing gravity as a propulsion system to go to your next planet, since we don't have the capability to just do it through our technical means as of right now. So, or efficiently as of right now. So when it comes to a man-made object, it's going to be influenced by that stuff. And apparently the trajectory or the way that this object is floating towards us in space is basically not being affected by those objects whatsoever, or is just taking a completely different trajectory. So that is super weird because, again, like any normal object, anything that is not technologically made typically goes through the same path. So when you have something that's going faster than usual and is going in a completely different trajectory, that's what was the cause of concern for the scientists. And again, like it's just one dude saying this, right? I don't see a lot of scientists coming on board and saying, yo, it's 100%, like it's going to be an alien spaceship, or it's 100%, like not anything naturally made, like it's something that was created by something that is hurling towards us. Like not a lot of people are saying that scientifically wise, but there is one scientist that he is, he's not a chump. That's what I can say. Like he has, he's a accredited scientist. He's world renowned, and if he's saying this, people are just taking it seriously. Now, of course, I think the general discourse online is just accepting that aliens are coming, basically. But the scientific community is trying to like write it off, like, yeah, this guy's crazy, like he doesn't know what he's talking about. So we don't know. So what I know is that it was supposed to be a couple months away. Now it's a couple weeks away, essentially, right? And we don't know if the object's going to crash into Earth or just go by Earth or wherever the case may be. But the real question is, does aliens exist, right? Do aliens actually exist? Now, of course, I do not have the answer to that question, right? Someone in our government, I think, does, but I'm not that guy. I don't have the clearance or the access to know that information accurately. Unfortunately, we can only go by speculation. I think, and again, like for me, a little background for me, I've been consuming just alien-based content literally my entire life, man. I remember, like, as a kid, dude, I didn't really watch many cartoons. The only cartoons I really fucked with were like Avatar and or SpongeBob. Those are the only two cartoons I went hard for. I only watched cartoons like kid shows when like my siblings had the remote. But if I had the remote and I was watching alone, I was watching History Channel, right? I was watching Ancient Aliens. I was watching, Discovery Channel. I was watching Mythbusters. I was watching fucking Deadliest Catch at like 8 years old. So that's the kind of content I was consuming from a young age. So a lot of, especially the History Channel stuff, a lot is like alien based, like hypothetical scenarios of aliens, or just scientifically based, where we're like going over the universe and that kind of stuff. I read books about like planets and or the universe as a whole, and I've been consuming that content my entire life, right? And even for like videos I watch online or on YouTube, like a lot of it is like scientifically based, or we'll talk about aliens, or we'll talk about like physics as a whole, or just the universe as a whole, right? It's a big portion of content that I consume on a day-to-day basis, that and political stuff. So do I personally believe that aliens are real? I would say yes. And the reason being is that the universe is so ridiculously fucking big. Like, we literally cannot comprehend the size of the universe, right? We cannot comprehend the size of the universe. And I'm going to put into an example. So when we look up in the night sky right now, so if we're like in the middle of the desert, somewhere where there's not a lot of like man-made light around, we can actually see the sky above us. All of those stars, every star that's, because all those stars are not necessarily within our galaxy, right? All that light coming in there is not just the Milky Way. Like, we're getting light from all angles, right? We're getting to see the entire vastness of the universe, right? So everything that we can see, there's not even everything that's out there. So when you look up in the night sky, like every single star that you see, there's not all the stars in the universe. This is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the stars in the universe. Not only that, it took the light from those stars literally billions of years to get to us. So the universe is so, like, we talk about the speed of light, how fast the speed of light is, how nothing can exceed the speed of light, right? So it took the speed of light billions upon billions upon billions of years from those planets, or those planets, from those stars, from those galaxies to reach us. Like, the universe is so big that the speed of light is just not fast enough to traverse. And again, speed of light, there's nothing that can exceed the speed of light from our current understanding of physics. Nothing can go faster in it. That's like that's the speedometer of the universe. Like, that's the highest you can go speed-wise. And it takes the highest you can go speed-wise billions of years to reach us from all these other different stars, all these other different galaxies that are currently out there. And that's just a fraction of what we're able to see, right? Just a fraction of what's out there. So there's so many stars and or galaxies out there. I think they said, like, and a lot of people, like, they struggle to wrap their heads around how, the light can reach us. And because when you look at it like this, when you are looking up at the sky, like, you're seeing what that object was billions of years in the past. So you're not seeing exactly that object necessarily now, right? And that's kind of confusing, and I can see how that is confusing. So when I look up at an object, or I look up at a star in the night sky, I'm seeing that star, the light, it took the light billions of years or millions of years to get to me. So I'm looking literally millions of years, billions of years in the past that star might have exploded, depending on where the age of that star is. It may have just went supernova. So a star may not even exist anymore, or it might have collided into something else. So you're literally looking up into the past every time you look up into the night sky. You're not seeing things for what they are now. Of course, the closer the body, the closer the object is, the closer that is going to be within like the actual age that you're seeing it. So for instance, the moon, right? The moon is right next to us. Even the moon's pretty far when you look at like how long it takes to traverse and how fast you got to go to get there, etc. But the moon is our closest object in the universe, right? So the moon you're seeing basically in real time. Anything within our solar system you're seeing in real time. But when you talk about stars and other galaxies and far beyond us, then you're going back in time basically. And you could look at it like this. So if I was standing on the street, right? And there's a girl 2 blocks away. She's 2 blocks away from me down the same street, right? We're going to call her the star and we are Earth, right? So I'm Earth, she's a star, she's 2 blocks away. There's a third person. We're going to call the third person Light. So he takes a picture of the girl. Now he is walking toward my direction. I'm staying stationary. He's walking to my direction to give me the light. So as soon as he starts walking in my direction to give me the light, she starts walking back the other way, basically. So she's not coming towards me. She's walking away from me. So as soon as he takes a picture, he's walking towards me. She starts walking away. So by the time the picture gets to me and I'm able to see the picture of her, she's not within that same position anymore because the light took its time to get to us. And of course, she was getting farther away from us because the expansion of the universe and like going back in time, etc. So by the time I see the picture of her, all of the houses that's around her, anything that's around her in that current moment is no longer around her. She's now 2 blocks away. So now she's 4 blocks away rather than 2 blocks away. So that's like the best example I can possibly give, like on the fly, of how when you look up to the night sky, you're basically seeing back in time. So the vastness, going back to the vastness of the universe, man, there has to be aliens out there. There are more galaxies in the universe than there are actually like pieces of sand on Earth. Like they did the math, they crunched the numbers. Think about that. Like, you know how much fucking sand there is on the Earth? Like when you just go to the beach, like every single little grain of sand, every single little grain of sand in the ocean, like all those grains of sands, right? There's still more galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sands. And just within those galaxies, there's millions of stars. So there's like an incomprehensible number of stars in the universe. And of course, every galaxy has millions of stars. Those millions of stars have planets orbiting them. So the possibilities of life are just, there's no way that we're alone. There's no possible fucking way that we can be alone. There's too much out there, too much possibilities. It wouldn't make any sense for us to be alone if we were to crunch the numbers and determine like all the exoplanets, all the freaking stars, all the galaxies that are possibly out there. Like it's not possible. Now, just because there's life out there doesn't mean that the life is necessarily intelligence, right? It could be, I think a lot of the life is going to be basic life, if you will. So like basic organisms or like organisms that are not necessarily technologically advanced. I think that's going to be the majority of it. But there has to be other organisms out there that are as advanced as us or far more advanced than us, right? So I do think aliens exist. Now, when it comes to have they visited us, that's the real question. So as far as this time period in history, if you are interested in aliens, this is by far the most interesting or exciting time period in history because you're having a lot of people that are, or high level in the government, high level in the American government in particular, that are now coming out and becoming whistleblowers and saying, yo, I've been seeing some weird shit that we cannot explain, that is not our technology, or I've seen shit, I've had the clearance to see this stuff, or I worked with people that have seen this stuff and I have information on this stuff. So a lot of people are starting to come out as whistleblowers and say, in front of Congress, in front of, in front of everyone that, listen, there's shit out there that we have in our control or that we're interacting with that, people are not necessarily privy to that information. And this is stuff that's been talked about for literally decades, man. Like, people have been talking about, human beings interactions with aliens for, as far as people can imagine, right? When you look at like tales, like famous, like old folklore, it always talks about like there's times where there's other beings coming down, or like, I think there's like one account in India where, within like their religion, I forgot which religion it was, please don't quote me on this, but basically there was like a fight in the sky. So the gods were fighting in the sky, right? The gods were like shooting each other down, and they painted a picture of it, and everything's like metal objects just fucking going at it, basically. Like, there's so many accounts like that throughout history where people saw things that they necessarily did not see. And of course that just could be people's fantasies, and just like, because we make up stories now. Like human beings now, with all this technology, of all this, superior intellect and compared to our ancestors, like we make shit up now. So of course, like people back then, they're probably just going to be making shit up all the time. So a lot of that can be just chucked up to human imagination and trying to explain things that they could not explain. But, there has been tales of that kind of stuff happening throughout history, and especially in the modern day, like, with like the Roswell crash, or like people seeing UFOs in the sky and that shit. Like, there's a lot of accounts where people are seeing stuff that necessarily cannot explain. I think that most of the time when people do see stuff, it's probably like something that we made that's top secret. Like, for instance, I think when the B-2 bomber or the Blackbird, which are two military aircrafts were being developed, of course they were testing them, they were flying them in the skies, and there was like an increased reports of like people seeing shit in the area or whatever that they were testing it in. And people can contribute that, if you don't know any better, to UFOs, but that's actually a government made craft. So I do think that there's a lot of stuff that we made that is definitely top secret that people do see, and in reality it's just shit that we build that is not privy to the public as of yet. But I do think that there definitely are a lot of credible cases where people are seeing shit that they just cannot explain, right? Like God, I forgot the guy's name. He was in the Navy, I believe. He was a famous example of this. Like, he was someone that was super high up in the Navy, and he was saying that, like, yo, there's shit that I was seeing that we definitely don't have. Like, there was shit that's flying, thousands of miles per hour in the sky with no visible means of propulsion, and it's just diving into the water. So it's an object that can go submersible and also airborne, which I don't think we really have anything that can really do that effectively as of yet, or at least that I know of. Maybe we do have it as far as like a top secret project. But he was like, yo, the shit that I was seeing, like, we don't have that. Like, we have nothing capable. Like, I've seen the craft that we have, and that shit is like beyond our comprehension. So he was a famous whistleblower. I'm blanking out his name. Sorry about that. But, he was telling accounts there. And, like, you have the whole David Grush situation that's currently happening, or currently happened, where he was someone that was high ranking in the government. He was like, yo, we have made contact with these alien beings. We have for the past couple of decades. We have their technology. We're trying to it's not reinvent. It's a certain word to basically take the technology and trying to replicate it to the best of your capabilities. I'm blanking out on the word. Sorry about that. But we're basically just trying to do that to their technology, that they're interdimensional beings and that kind of stuff. So listen, I don't know, man. I don't know if the aliens that are out there are just, they have their own exoplanets and they're just coming over here to see, yo, bonjour, what's good, what you up to? Or if they're interdimensional beings and fucking they're from another universe or some other shit that's out there, and they're just poking in their heads and saying, yo, bonjour, what you guys up to? So I don't know, man. I have no clue. I do think that they're definitely out there. I do think that, all of these whistleblowers that are currently coming out and speaking, they can't all be full of shit. Like, these people are high-ranking people within the government, right? These people, once you go and become a whistleblower and talk about aliens as a government official, like, yo, your career is done. Like, you're done. Like, you can never work in government again. Your career is completely done. Like, there's nothing you can do. Your credibility, like all your credibility that you work for your entire career is completely out the window. You know, not only that, but now you have the government on you. Because even if you're lying, you're still bringing heat to the government, and the government never wants heat. The government never wants people looking into them, right? And especially if it's like a top secret project and that kind of stuff, like they don't want Congress or the casual American to be privy to that information as of yet. So they're naturally going to be on your ass, you know, like white on rice. So when you do it, when you become a whistleblower, like it's not anything that's done lightly, you know, like it's a big deal. So I don't think like a lot of these guys would just be doing this. And there's a lot of people that have coming out, you know, that were high ranking in the government are saying this stuff. I don't think all these guys are full of shit, right? There's probably a couple of them that are full of shit, you know, just, you know, when we just, you know, do probabilities. But for them to all be full of shit, I just don't believe it. You know, there has to be a couple of them that are telling the truth or telling the truth that they're interpreting, right? Maybe we do have, you know, some technology that's super advanced that is not privy to the public yet, and they're just seeing that technology, but we just haven't made available. So they're just like, yo, since it's far ahead of anything we currently have, it has to be aliens. That could be in play too. You know, you can't write necessarily that off. And I bet there's some of that is naturally coming into play. So they could be just telling the truth as far as how, from what they're seeing in their perspective. But yeah, it's a super interesting time to be interested in UFOs as of now. But I think the biggest issue, or like the shit that pains me the most in being interested in UFOs and being interested in this topic, is that you're never, like, we're getting, you know, testimonies from people and that kind of stuff, and we're slowly getting more and more information. But then again, it's like, it's not definitive, you know, until we see the aircraft, until we see the aliens, until I see a 9-foot long gray alien grab me by the sack and say, yo, I'm real, what's poppin', you're never going to know, you know? You're never going to fully believe it. So that's the biggest issue, especially within the UFO community, is that, yo, we're getting all this information information is cool and, like, it's exciting, but, like, yo, show me the alien. Show me that alien fucking badussi. Like, show us. I want to see it. We want to see it. So I'm at the point where I'll consume this content and I'll be like, bro, I just want to see the aliens. I just want to see the craft. I just want to see the craft fly, you know. So that's like the anyone who has consumed this content for a period of time, we just want the truth. We just want to finally know. We don't want any of these little testimonies and that stuff. We just want the proof once and for all. And apparently the guy saying that the proof is coming in 2 weeks. Well, not 2 weeks, 1 week. So we'll know, man. We'll know. I think there was also like a famous like psychic or whatever, some blind Polish lady or some shit. She was saying that, like, basically she's like Nostradamus, right? She's like modern day Nostradamus, where she makes these predictions come true. She was saying that we're meeting, in the beginning of this year, or late last year, she was saying that, like, yo, aliens are coming, we're meeting them in 2025. So maybe she's right. You know, maybe this Polish mystic is right, and they are coming in this year, and they're gonna touch down. They're gonna be like, yo, like, y'all bugging, like, y'all are really wilding out here, like, destroying your own planet over fucking greed. Like, what's good with y'all? I do think that if they do come down, they would say, yo, y'all are bugging. I think if they do touch down, they're gonna be like, yo, y'all are dead ass tripping for no reason right now. Like, why are you fighting? Like, why are you fighting amongst yourselves? The fuck? Like, were you retarded? Like, what are you doing? Like, why does that shit matter? You know, just fucking, like, you're damaging your planet. You're destroying the planet you live in. Like, are you fucking retarded? And we're gonna be like, yeah, we are retarded, man, unfortunately. So listen, if the aliens come down here and they're benevolent, right, and they want what's best for us, I'ma listen, man. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's a lot of people who be like, yo, fuck those aliens. They're not human. Like, you can't tell me what to do. Like, they're not one of us, whatever. I'm like, yo, Space daddies, tell me what to do, fam. Like, anything y'all want me to do, I'm gonna do, Space Daddy. For real. You're just like, yo, Space Daddy's like, yo, y'all need to clean up the earth. I'm big, alright, Captain. We gonna clean up this earth. If they're like, yo, y'all need to start fighting. You need to stop fighting right now. I'm big, alright, Space Daddy, whatever you want. Like, anything you want, I'm gonna do, man. Because one, you're more technologically advanced than us. So if we rebel, if I try to act out, you're smoking me. I can't beat you. Like, there's no way, like, nothing we have is going to beat them. So that's number one. Number two, they're obviously more advanced than us for a reason. They've probably been around longer than we have. So they know a thing or two. So I'm going to take the wisdom of Space Daddy. I'm going to apply it, right? And a lot of people forget, humans haven't been around that long. Like, when you look at the earth as a whole and the earth sustaining life, it really hasn't been that long, man. Like, for instance, I think they said humans have been around for like a couple thousand years. I think we've been around longer than they currently believe that we have been. Basically, I think they said humans, like the modern day humans, have been around for like 40,000 years or some shit. And we only started making, like these structures and stuff, or cities or that kind of stuff, like ancient Egypt and Gaza and the pyramids and all that, Giza and the pyramids and all that shit 12,000 years ago, right? But I do think that we were making some crazy shit even before that, right? And there are multiple accounts of like us discovering shit that it's always predating what we thought we were capable of by a couple thousand years. But modern humans haven't been around that long, man. And when you look at just life on Earth as a whole, it's only been around for like 3 billion years, but the universe has been around for 9 billion years. So it took Earth like 6 billion years to really get habitable. And within those billions of years, it took another 3 billion years to get to us, right? So we don't know how long these aliens have been around for, right? When you have a civilization that has completely stopped infighting and is completely benevolent and can traverse the stars whenever they like, or just like more, or like interdimensional beings that have tapped into technology that we literally cannot fucking comprehend whatsoever, like, they definitely have been around a while. They've most likely been around far longer than we ever have, right? So that's another thing that comes into account. Like, that's the one thing that I personally wonder a lot, is that, like, what's eventually a civilization is going to have to collapse, right? Every civilization collapsed. Every civilization, at least, within our world, has collapsed at one given point. Like when you look at the Romans or you look at other civilizations, like, they eventually collapse. And when you look at it's a species as a whole, eventually is going to have to die out. Look at the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs have a great run for millions of years, but they eventually died out, due to outside factors of their own. So when you have a more, intellectually capable species, how is that going to play out? Are they going to die out by like self-suicide and self-sabotage? Or are they going to die out from external factors like the dinosaur did? But eventually, like, the species just have to die out as a whole. So how long has these fucking aliens been around? And we're kind of late to the party if you really think about it. Like, there has to be planets out there that has developed human life far before we did. Like, they have to, because the Earth was turbulent for a long time. So maybe there's a planet out there from the solar system that was supporting life 3 billion years rather than 9 billion years. And they had a technological, they developed a technological civilization at 4 to 5 billion years while Earth is still, getting its shit together. And then they had a civilization, they were fucking running shit, and they eventually died out. So I think we're late to the party when you look at just the overall timeline for us versus other, possible alien life forms out there. Because Earth took a while to fucking get shit down. Then we had to get rid of the dinosaurs. So we got here late, man. It was probably other exoplanets out there that could support life 3, 4, 5, 6 billion years into the universe. I think the universe is like 12 billion years old now. Or I think it's like 9 to 12. Something like that, man. I forgot the fucking age of the universe. I'm sorry. I forgot the age of the universe. Like, give me a fucking pass here. But there have to have been other planets that could support life far quickly than what Earth could or what Earth was capable of, right? So of those planets, naturally, going to be some that can support life. And if any planet can support life, you have multiple planets being able to support life. Eventually, there's going to be something that can support intelligent life, right? So I think if we were to like traverse, definitely within our solar system, but within the universe, I think we'll see a lot of dead civilizations. I think we'll see a lot of remnants of whether it be technologically civilizations that eventually died. Because when you look at timeline, man, the universe as a whole, like a couple million years is nothing to the universe, bro. A couple million years is like that shit ain't nothing to the universe, bro. You know? Like you have to go billions of years to really start like meaning shit to the universe. Can a civilization sustain itself for billions of years? I can't see it. Then again, like these aliens are far more technologically advanced than us, and they're more down packed than us, and they're able to do shit that we can't do. So maybe they figure it out and they're just chilling. They're like, yo, we're just vibing for a billion years. Like we were fighting 2 billion years ago, then we just came together and we just been vibing, ever since. So maybe they figured it out, but it's just hard for me to believe that civilization can sustain itself for billions of years at a time. So I do think that if we were to traverse the universe as a whole, we would see more dead ancient alien civilizations than we would see live alien civilizations. But I do think we'll see a lot of alien civilizations as a whole, man. So I do think these fuckers are out there. I think the space daddies are coming. Let's just hope the space daddies are nice, man. Because if the space daddies are not nice, bro, we can't fight them. Like they fucking came from another planet over here. We can't fight that. Like you think a nuclear bomb's gonna do anything to them, bro? Like, nah, bro. They're smoking us straight up. So if they do come, which I think eventually they're gonna come, I think hopefully they're nice. Let's be nice to them. Let's not be dicks. They are guests, so we should treat them as, a guest should be treated. Let's not try to fuck them. There's some of you out there that's going to want to fuck an alien. Like, naturally, y'all are nasty. So don't try to fuck them. I doubt they're going to give it up to us anyway. So just leave that alone. And just listen to the Space Daddies. And just basically do what Space Daddy wants at the end of the day. So, yeah, that's this week's episode. It's a random-ass episode about aliens. But this is stuff that I like talking about. So I hope you enjoyed this little alien rant. And have a great week.